For any job, tools are important. Imagine trying to bake a cake without an oven or a mixing bowl. It would be a disaster, right? Similarly, in hacking, tools are your secret weapons. You wouldn't go into battles without your trusty sword. So for hacking, you have got your command as your mighty tools. But hey, if you're fumbling with them like a confused magician, your hacking game might end up being more like a comedy show.
Hello!
In this video, we'll explore some commands that are a must for a hacker to know. The first command you must know as an ethical hacker is ping. Think of ping like sending a quick "hey there" message to check if a website or a computer is online. You can also use it to see how fast the computer or the website responds. To use ping, on the terminal we can say ping and then the IP address or the domain name. In my case, it would be single_wordpress.local. And you can see it's pinging. When we don't specify anything, the normal ping packet size would be 64 bytes, which consists of 56 bytes of data and 8 bytes of packet headers. But you can increase the size. You can come over to the ping command, and after the ping you can see -s, and after that the size you want to specify, and press enter. You would see the size changed from 64 to 108. It's because it's not just the data, it's data plus a little fancy header stuff, so keep that in mind. Now if you're feeling playful, you can use the -f flag to flirt ton of packets to the target host. Keep it friendly as there is a small time delay. As a normal user, there is a limitation, a minimum of 2 milliseconds interval within the packets. Now, if you're willing to run it as root, it would work pretty fine. Now, you can run the ping command with both -f and without -f and then compare the two and see the difference. But do note that in order to flood the host, you need to be a root user. Like for a normal user, you must give it 2 seconds delay. Okay, now if your firewall acts tough and blocks the ping command, you can use the h3 ping command to send sneaky messages in a different way, like secret codes. So let's explore that as well. So it would be sudo hping3 and the packet size and another flag which is -f for verbose, which will enforce certain things. And after that the port number. In my case it's 2323, but you can specify any port number you want. And in the last, the domain name or the IP address. Now if I press enter, you would see it would start pinging the host. Now in the last, don't forget about the timeout function. Now if you're willing to ping and timeout after a certain time, or you can use the timeout for any command, it's not specific to ping. So you can write timeout in front of any command, then the time you want to timeout after, and then the command you want to run. So I'll say ping and then the domain name or the IP address. So you would say it would time out after 10 seconds. Okay, so there you go. You have the timeout function, the ping, and the domain name. The pwd command in the world of computer is like asking where am I right now. It tells you the exact location or the path of the directory folder you are currently working in. To use pwd, we can simply come over to our terminal and say pwd. The computer will respond with something like /home/ the username /videos, YouTube videos, hacking commands, which is the full path of the directory I'm currently in. The path given by the pwd shows each directory from the topmost root directory to the current one. In our example, the / represents the root directory, home is the directory inside the root directory, and this username is a directory inside the home directory, and this video is the directory inside the username, and this YouTube videos is a directory inside the videos, and this hacking command, which is our current directory, is inside all of these directories. Now, knowing where you are with pwd is crucial, especially when navigating through different directories or running commands that require specific file paths. It's like having a GPS for your computer, helping you stay on track. Next time you are lost in folders, just ask pwd for directions. In computer speak, ls is asking what's inside this folder. It shows you a list of files and folders inside that directory you are in. To use ls, we can type ls on the terminal and then press enter. The computer will display all of the files and folders we currently have in this directory. Now to understand the output of ls, files are shown in normal text while the folders or the directory are shown in a different colors or with / in different Linux. Now this was simple ls. You can also use some options with it, Like for instance, ls you can use the help command. The help command will show you all of these different options you can use with it. Like you can say ls and then the option and then the files or folders after that. For instance, you can use this -a flag or --all. The purpose of this flag is the normal ls would just show you the files and folders that are not hidden, but if you provide ls-a, it will show you all of the folders even if they are hidden inside the directory. Another flag you can use with ls is -l. Purpose of this flag is like the normal ls shows you the output in raw form, but if you provide the -l, it would show the output in more organized manner in a list form, also with more details, like for instance the permissions, the user and the user group, the size and the date. You can also combine the flags with ls. Suppose you want to see all of the directories but in more organized manner, so you can say ls-la and it would show you all of the directories even if they are hidden in a list form with more details version of it. You would say, why do we need ls? Well, ls helps you find what's inside a folder quickly. It's also useful to navigate and find specific files and folders. It's like peeking into a box and seeing its content. So next time, if you're wondering what's hiding inside a folder, just ask ls for a sneak peek. Next command on our list is cd. In computer lingo, cd is saying take me to another room or folder. It lets you move from one folder to another in your computer file system. Now in order to use cd, we can just write cd on the terminal and then after that where we want to navigate. Suppose I want to go to temp folder, which is inside this hacking commands folder. I have written cd and after that the folder name. If I press enter and now pwd, you can see that I'm inside the hacking commands folder and then inside the temp. In order to go back, you can just say cd ... and it will go back one directory. So now if we pwd, you can see that I'm in hacking commands instead of temp. So once more, if you're willing to go to any folder, you can say cd temp and press enter, and the temp is the name of the folder you want to go. You can also say cd/home/something and it will take you to that folder, and if you ls now, you can see that we are in /home folder. Now you would say why cd matters. It's essential for moving around and organizing your files. It also helps you access different folders without clicking through graphical interfaces. It's like teleporting to a different room in your digital house. Now next time you need to hop to another folder, just tell cd where you want to go. Another command on our list is touch. In computer terms, touch is like saying create a new file. It can also be used to update timestamp, which is the last modified time of existing file. So in order to use touch, first I will ls and I can see we have two files. One is new.txt, the other one is random.txt. So I can say touch and then the file name. If I'm willing to create a new one, I can say new name.txt. And if I ls now, you can see the new one.txt file is created. Now if I say ls-l, you would see the timestamp of this folder is 24 April. But if I touch new.txt and then ls-l, you can see the timestamp of this new.txt has been changed. Previously it was 24 April, but now it's 25 April. As I said earlier, you can use the touch for two purposes. One is for creating a new file and the other one is for changing the timestamp of existing file. You would say why touch matter? Well, touch matters because it's handy for quickly creating new files. It's also useful for updating the timestamp of old files, which can have various uses in file management. It's also like a magic wand to files creation and timestamp updates. So next time you need a new file or you want to update timestamp, give touch a tap. In computer language, mkdir is like saying build me a new folder. It creates a new directory or folder in your computer file system. Now in order to use mkdir, you can say mkdir and then the folder name and press enter. And the computer will create a new folder with the specified name in your current location. In order to use it, you can say mkdir and then the folder name. From the last ls, you can see we have these three files and one folder. Now if I'm willing to create a new directory, and if I ls, you can see the new directory has been created. Now you can also create a directory in another location. You can say mkdir and then specify the location you want to create the directory in. So suppose I want to create the directory inside temp, I can say temp/ and then new directory. And if I ls temp, you would see we have a new directory inside the temp folder. You can also do cd temp and then ls, you would pwd and then ls. You would see that we are in temp directory and we have this new directory inside this temp folder, which was created by mkdir by specifying a specific location. The location could be anywhere on your entire Linux system. You can just say mkdir and then the specified location you want to create the folder or directory. Now you would say, why mkdir matters? Well, it's essential for organizing and structuring your file system. It also helps you create new spaces to store related files together. It's like building blocks for your digital storage. Next time you need a new place to store your files in, just tell mkdir to make it for you. The next command on our list is rm. In computer terms, rm is like saying delete this file or folder. It allows you to remove files or directories from your computer file system. Now, in order to use rm, you can just say rm and after that the file name and press enter. The computer will permanently delete the specified file or folder. There is no going to recycle bin or trash. The example of rm is if I say ls-la, you can see that we have 3 files and 3 folders. If I'm willing to remove the new 1.txt file, I can say rm new 1.txt and press enter. You would see that the new one file has gone. Now we are unable to find it anywhere. So this was simple. It was to delete a file. You just need to write rm and then after that the file name. Now in order to delete a directory, you can say rm and then the directory name. But if you press enter, you would see that the rm is not able to delete the directory. It's because you need to provide the -r flag in front of the rm and then press enter. You would see that the directory has also been deleted. So what this -r flag means is it says to the rm that delete even if it's directory. Like it's a recursive flag which tells the rm it doesn't really matter that if it's directory or a file, just delete it. So as I said earlier, you need to be careful with rm because there is no going back to recycle bin once you delete something with rm. Unlike doing it from the graphical user interface where you delete something, it goes to recycle bin, which later you can restore or delete it permanently. But with rm, the file or folder is deleted, it's nowhere to find. Now you would say why rm matters? Well, it helps you clean up the unwanted files and folders. It's essential for managing your computer storage space. It's also like a digital spring cleaning tool. Next time you need to tidy up your files, rm is there to help you. But remember to use it wisely because there is no going back to recycle bin and restoring your files. Next command on our list is cat. In computer terms, cat is like saying show me what's inside the file. It is a command line utility that allows you to display the contents of one or more files directly in your terminal. Now in order to use cat, you would say cat then file1 space file2 file 3 and so on. Once you press enter, the computer will display the contents of specified files concatenated in the order you specified or listed them in. In order to use cat, I can say ls and I can see I have 2 files, new.txt and random.txt. If I want to see what's inside random.txt, I can say cat random.txt and press enter and it will show me all of the contents of this file. If I want to see what's inside the new, I can say new.txt and you can see it will show me this content. If you want to see both of them, I will say first new.txt and then random.txt and press enter. You would see first it will show me the contents of new.txt and after that contents of random.txt. Now you can use cat to combine 2 files and create new one out of it or combine existing 2 files. In order to do that, you can say cat, then the first file name and the second file name and after that greater sign and after that the file name you want to save both of the combined files into. So I would say combined.txt and if I ls-l now, you would see we have another third file and if I cat combined file, you would see all of the contents of both of the files are combined in one. So this was specified first and after that this. So both of them are combined. Now you would say, why does cat matters? Well, it helps you quickly view contents of file without opening them in text editor. It's also useful for displaying small to moderate files directly in your terminal. It also can be used for script or commands to process and manipulate text data. Now next time you need a peek inside a file or you want to combine files files, cat is your trusty companion. Next command on our list is less. In computer terms, less is like saying show me this file but let me read it at my own pace. It is a command line utility that allows you to view the contents of a file page by page, making it easier to read long files without overwhelming your screen. Now in order to use less, you can say less and then the file name. So suppose I have a file by the name of random.txt, but it's not long enough, so I'll copy the text from it, open it in nano, and then paste this text quite a few times and then exit. Now if I say cat random.txt, you would see it will display all of the contents of my file, but it's like overwhelming and I need to scroll down and stuff like that. But if I say less and then the file name, so you would see it would show me the first page of the file, and if I press arrow it will take me down, and if I press arrow it will take me down until it's the end of the file comes. Now it's the end of the file. If I press up key and then Q, it will quit. Now as I already explained, in order to navigate in the file, you can press down key to go down and press up key to go up. And if you want to quit the file, you can press Q and it will quit the file. If you want to go to the beginning of the file, suppose I come over to end of the file and then I want to go to the top of the file, so I can press G and it will take me to the top of the file. Now if I want to search something inside a file, I can say slash and then say lorm and press enter. It will show all of the occurrences. If I want to go to the next, I can say n and it will show me the next occurrence wherever that is. Next time you need to comfortably read through a lengthy file or command output, less is your tool for the job. Now coming over to more, which is another brother of less. But in computer terms, more is like saying let me read the file step by step. It is a command line utility that allows you to view the contents of a file page by page, making it easier to read long files without overwhelming. Well, you will say, then what's the difference between less and more? You will see that in a minute. But in order to use more, you will say more and then the file name. Now let's try it out. When we were reading a file with less, we have at the bottom just the file name. But if I quit that and say more and random.txt, right over here we don't have the file name, but we can see how much text is displayed on this screen. Now if I scroll down, you would see it will change the percentage of the contents that I'm reading, and it automatically quits the file once we reach the end of the file, unlike less where you needed to press Q at the end of the file as well in order to quit. And in more, wherever you want to quit the file, you just press Q and it will quit the file there for you. Now in more, if you want to go page by page, you can press space or down key. If you just want to scroll through one line, you can press enter and it will scroll through one line. Press enter for coming down one line and press space for coming down page by page, and press Q wherever you want to quit. So next time you need to read through a long file or a command output without scrolling endlessly, more is your handy tool for a step-by-step approach. Now you have seen this command earlier as well, but it is a formal introduction to that. So in computing terms, nano is like saying let me edit a text file right here in the terminal. It is a command line text editor that allows you to create and modify text file directly in your terminal or command prompt. To use nano, you can say nano and then the file name. So suppose I want to change random.txt, I can say nano file name and then press enter. It will show you all of the contents of this file, and now you can edit it, add some text or remove some text, whatever you want to do. In order to search something in a file, you can press Ctrl W and you can search for that thing. Suppose I want to find lorm. In order to replace, you can press Ctrl/. In order to write out something, you can press Ctrl-O, and you can see all of the helpful things right over here. This thing means Control, and after that is G. Next command on our list is Whim. In computer terms, Whim is like saying, let's dive into editing this text file with powerful tools. It is a command line text editor that offers extensive features for creating, editing, and managing text files directly into your terminal or command prompt. Now, in order to use Whim, you can write Whim on your terminal and then the file name you want to edit. So suppose I want to edit this random.txt. On my system, Whim is not installed, so it's asking that if I want to install the Whim or not. So in my case, I would like to install the Whim. I have said yes. And then I yes again. Once the Whim gets installed, You can run the command again and you can see we are in Whim. Now you need to understand few things first. In Whim you need to be in insert mode. To start the insert mode, I'll press I to enter into insert mode where I can add or edit text inside this file. So once I'm in insert mode, you can see right over here we are in insert mode. I can do whatever I want. If I'm willing to exit out of the insert mode, I'll press escape and you can see we are not anymore in the insert mode. If you are willing to save the file, you would press colon and then W and then press enter. It will save the file. Now if you are willing to quit the file, you can press colon and then Q and press enter. It will quit the file. I'll open up random.txt with Whim again. I'll write something down in insert mode, and if I'm willing to save and exit the file in one command, I'll press escape first and then colon WQ and press enter. This command will save and exit the file both at the same time. In some cases you would make changes to the file, but then you would say, I want to quit without saving. So for doing that, you need to first go out of the edit insert mode and then press colon and Q and then not. And when you press enter, you would see that your previous changes would go away without saving. Now in Whim, you can navigate around with your regular arrows, which is your down, right, left keys, but you can also navigate with H to the left, with J to down, with K to up, and with L to the right side. Now if you want to delete a character, you can press X and it will delete character from the screen. So these were just few shortcuts you can use in Whim. Like Whim is a big world. In this small video I cannot wrap it all up, but you can search it out or you can leave a comment down below and I will make a detailed video on Whim. To summarize, you would say, why does Whim matters, as we already have Nano and other text editors like VS Code and stuff like that as well. Whim matters because it offers a wide range of features including like syntax highlighting, macros, split screen and other stuff. Also, it is a quick thing you can just use on your terminal. When you are working with servers, on servers you cannot install VS Code and stuff like that. So Whim comes handy right over there. It is also suitable for advanced editing, programming, scripting and system administration tasks. Also, Whim is highly customizable and extensive with plugins and configurations. Now, as I previously said, Whim has a steep learning curve because it is a little bit difficult to learn. Once you learn it, it will provide you immense power and efficiency. Now to summarize, next time you need to dive into text editing or coding directly in your terminal, Whim is your versatile and powerful text editor. Now the next command on our list is apt, yum and dnf. It's 3 because apt is used on Debian based Linux systems and DNF is used on Fedora. All of these 3 commands do the same thing, like they are package managers for installing softwares or removing softwares or doing other stuff. So let's understand, like I'll show you the example of DNF, but the same goes for yum and apt as well. In computer terms, DNF is like saying let's manage software packages efficiently on this Fedora or Red Hat system. It is a command line package manager that allows you to install, update, remove and manage software packages along with their dependencies. Now in order to use DNF, we can say sudo. In case of Whim, what I did was I said sudo DNF install Whim and it started the installation. Now if I say sudo DNF Whim, it won't install the Whim because it's already on our system, but it will say, it's sudo DNF install Whim. So it won't install the Whim because Whim is already installed on our system. But when for the first time I sudo DNF installed Whim, it started the installation and it installed the Whim on my system. Now common actions for DNF or apt or yum is install, remove, update, upgrade, search and info. The install is used to install a new package or multiple packages on your Linux system. Remove is for uninstalling a package. Update is for updating all of the installed packages to the latest version on your Linux system. Upgrades is used to upgrade only packages that have newer versions available. If you have version 1.1, 2, 3, so update work for that. But if you have like version 3 coming out, so upgrade work for that. Then we have search as a basic function for DNF. Search is used for searching different packages on your Linux system, and in the last is info. So info display information about different packages. Let's understand few of these commands. So suppose you want to update your system, you can say sudo dnf update and it will start updating your system. Now the update is done. You can also say sudo dnf upgrade, and upgrade has nothing to do. So you can also install a package, like suppose I want to install GIMP. So I'll say sudo dnf install GIMP, and GIMP is basically a similar tool to Photoshop, which is used for image editing and stuff like that. Now you can use DNF to remove a package in the same manner. You can say sudo dnf remove, and suppose I want to remove GIMP because I don't need it, so it will ask if you want to really remove that. So I don't want to remove that, so I'll say and that's it. Well, you would say, why does DNF matters? Well, it provides modern and user-friendly package management experience on Fedora and other related distributions. On Debian base or other Linuxes, you have other package managers. Suppose I said apt and yum. It also handles dependencies automatically, simplifying software installation and updates. It also supports features like system-wide updates, package groups, and repository managements. Some additional tips you can get from DNF is like, if you're willing to search something, you can say sudo dnf search. And suppose I want to search GIMP. So you can see we have all of these different applications related to GIMP that came into search. If you're willing to list all of the softwares installed with DNF, you can say sudo dnf list installed, and it will show you all of the list of installed softwares. Now, if you're willing to see which of my applications need updates, so you can say sudo dnf list updates, and it will show you all of the packages that needs to be updated. Right now we just updated things, so it won't show me the update list as all of my softwares are up to date. And if you are willing to see info about something, so you can say sudo dnf info and then the package name. See info about GIMP, it would show me install packages and then the name, then the version, the releases, and other stuff. So this was DNF. To summarize, next time you need to manage software packages on Fedora or Red Hat based systems, DNF is your efficient and powerful package manager. And if you are on other Linux based like Debian or other things, you can use apt and yum. Now coming over to RPM and dpkg. We'll use RPM because on Fedora RPM works, but if you are on Debian based, you can use dpkg, and if you are on other Linux like Arch Linux and stuff like that, so you can use yum. In computer terms, RPM is like saying let's manage software packages on Red Hat based Linux system. It is a command line tool that allows you to install, update, query, and manage software packages on Linux distribution such as Red Hat Enterprises Linux or CentOS or Fedora and other derivatives. Now in order to use RPM, you can say RPM options and then the file name or package name. The RPM tool will start executing the specified file or package on the terminal. Now there are different options you can use with RPM. So suppose for installing something you can use I, for upgrading something you can use -U, for erasing something you can use -E, for queuing something you can use -Q, for verifying if a file is already installed you can use -V, and for displaying help you can use -H. Now let's give RPM a try. In order to install an RPM package, you need to download something that has .rpm extension. So in my case, I have downloaded Blender from the internet with .rpm extension. Now let's install that. So for installing something with RPM, you can say rpm-i and then the package name. In my case, the Blender is asking for these dependencies. I'm not willing to install all of these. It would mess my system up. Maybe there is some package that will conflict with my system, and then instead of installing Blender and working with it, something would break down and then I won't be able to do my work. But anyway, you get the idea. In order to install something, you can say rpm-i and then the package name that you want to install. If you want to upgrade something, you can say rpm-u and then the package name, and it will upgrade that package for you. If you're willing to remove something, you can say rpm-e and it will remove the package from your system. And if you're willing to query something, you can say rpm-q and then the package name, and it will query that package name for you. So you would say we had DNF. Suppose if you're willing to install Blender, so you would say DNF install Blender, and it will install Blender for you with its dependencies and stuff like that. You would now say that why do we need RPM? We need RPM because there are some packages that are not available in DNF. There you would need to install things manually using RPM. So that's why RPM matters. Also, RPM provides a command line interface for managing software packages in Red Hat based Linux systems. It also enables system administrator to install, upgrade and remove software efficiently. It also handles dependencies and packages integrity during installation and removal. Now to conclude things with RPM, next time you need to manage software packages on Red Hat based Linux system, RPM is your go-to command line tool for package management. Next command on our list is uname. Uname is like saying, tell me about this system. It is a command line utility that displays various information about the system and its environment. In order to use uname, you can just say uname and then the option you want to have. Like there are different options in uname. Suppose for displaying system name you can say -s. For displaying the host name you can say -n. For displaying the kernel release version you can say -r. For displaying the kernel version you can say -v. For displaying the machine hardware name you can say -m. And for displaying the processor type you can say -p. So suppose I say -p and it says unknown. So suppose I say -m and it says x86_64. Suppose I say -v, you can see it's displaying the version of the kernel. Suppose I say -r, it's displaying the release version of the kernel. Suppose I say -h, it is not a host but still it would display something. Sorry, it's -n. And you can see it says Fedora. So these are the options you can use with uname. So you would say, why does uname matters? Well, it provides you quick access to essential system information for troubleshooting and administration. It also helps you identify the operating system, the kernel version, the hardware architecture, and much more. It can also be used in scripting or commands to retrieve specific information about system dynamically. Additionally, if you are willing to see everything about your system, you can say uname-a and it will provide you all of the details, everything related to this system. Now to conclude, next time you need to quickly check system information or include system details in your script, uname is your handy tool for the system analysis. Next command on our list is lscpu. In computer terms, lscpu is like saying, tell me about the CPUs in the system. It is a command line utility that displays detailed information about the CPU architecture, cores, threads, cache, and much more. Now, in order to use lscpu on terminal, you can just say lscpu, press enter on the terminal. It will display you all of the information about your CPU. This information consists of like CPU architecture that displays the CPU architecture. In our case, it's x86_64. It also displays the CPU family. Like suppose we have this vendor ID, which is Gen 1 Intel. It also displays you the number of CPUs you have on your system. It also displays the cores per socket. It also indicates the threads you have in your CPU, also the different frequencies and the cache size. So now you would say, why does ls CPU matters? Well, it provides detailed insight into the CPU configuration, the capabilities, and the architecture. It helps system administration, developers, and users understand and optimize CPU usage. It is useful for checking hardware specification, especially in virtualized environment or multi-core systems. To conclude, next time you need detailed CPU information or you want to optimize system resources, ls CPU is your go-to command for CPU analysis. Next command on our list is df. In computing terms, df is like saying, show me how much disk is being used and how much it's available. It is a command line utility that displays information about disk space usage for mounted file systems. Now, in order to use df, you can say on terminal df and just press enter or give it some options after df. You can see that we have this /sda3 and we have this much amount of space used and this much amount of space available, which is 9%. So this is our main SSD that we are using. Now it's not human readable because it's a little bit difficult to read. So with df you can provide the -h flag in order to make it a little bit more readable. So now you can see that we have used the dev/sda3. Its total size is 953 GBs and we have used 77 GBs and 875 GBs are left. Now there are also different options you can provide as well. Suppose for instance you can provide the -t, which will show you file types for each entry. You can also provide the I, which will display inode information. So capital T was for displaying the type of each entry, and you can also provide the small t for filtering out output to show only the specified file types. Now mostly I use df for just checking how much space is left and stuff like that, but you can use it with different options and different stuff like that. So next time you need to check disk space usage on your Linux system, df is your command line tool for monitoring storage capacity. In computing terms, top is like saying, show me what's happening with the system resources right now. It is a command line utility that provides you real-time information about system processes, CPU usage, memory usage, and much more. In order to use top, you can say top on the terminal and press enter. The top tool will display a dynamic updating view of system activities and resource usage. So you can say top and then press enter. So you can see a dynamic updating view of system activity and resource usage. Now there are different options you can use with top. The first one is you can press Q to quit. You can also press spacebar to refresh the view. You can use K to kill a selected process. You can use U to filter or display the processes shown for a specific user. You can use M to sort the processes by memory usage, and you can use P to sort the processes by CPU usage. Now you would say, what is this information? If you can explain a little bit. Yes, indeed, I will explain a little bit for you. This screen includes the task information. It displays the total task we have, the running task, the sleeping task, the stop task, and the zombie task. Then after that we have the CPU usage, information about the CPU cycles, all of the other details. Then we have the memory usage, like the total memory, the free memory, used memory, and the buffer or cache size. Then after that we have the swap information, which is the total swap space and the free swap space and used swap space and available swap space. After that we have the processes information like the process ID, the user it's associated with, the PR, the NI, the word, the RES, SHR, the CPU, the memory, the time, and the command. So now you would say, why does top matters? Well, it provides real-time monitoring of system performance and resource usage. It also helps identify CPU-intensive processes, memory hogs, and system bottlenecks. It is useful for system administrator, developers, and users to diagnose and troubleshoot system performance issues. There are also some extra commands you can use with it. The normal top commands was showing just the shortcuts for the commands, but if you want to see full commands, you can see top-C, and right over here you can see full commands. You can also combine top with other commands or scripts for monitoring and logging system activity over time. And also the top output is highly configurable and can be customized to display specific information based on user preferences. Now, system administrators can use top to monitor CPU loads, memory usage, process activity, and overall system health. Developers and other users can use top to identify resource-intensive processes and optimize software performance and defective system anomalies. Now, next time you need a real-time insight into your system activity and resource usage, top is your go-to command line tool for system monitoring. In computer terms, htop is like saying, let's visually monitor system processes and resource usage in real time. It is an interactive command line utility that provides an enhanced and user-friendly view of system activity, processes, CPU usage, and memory usage, and much more. In order to use htop, you can write htop on your terminal and press enter. The htop tool will launch an interactive process viewer and system monitor in which you can see on the top all of the CPU cores you have. After that we have the memory, after that we have the swap, and after that we have the active processes. That includes the PID, the user, and all of the other details which we were seeing on the top. You can also see the input and output tab, which you can click and view the other processes. Like these are the main processes and these are the input output processes. So you can also interact with it. You also have these buttons on the bottom, like you can click on the help and view help, and you can also click on setup, search, filter, tree, and all of these other options. And for quit, you can just click quit and it will quit the program. So it also has certain options, like if you press Q, it will quit the program. If you press F2, it will open up the setup. If you press escape, you will go back to the main htop view. If you press F2 or S, it will open up the setup. If you press F3 or /, it allows you to start searching for processes like this. If you press F4 or O, it will let you start filtering the processes based on user-defined criteria. If you press F5 or T, it will let you sort processes by various criteria like CPU or memory usage. If you press F5 or greater than sign, it will let you select a column through which you can sort the processes. If you press K or F9, it will kill the selected process. If you press Q or F10, it will quit htop. So now you would say, why does htop matters? Well, it provides a more intuitive and visually appealing alternative to the traditional top command. It offers detailed insight into system processes, performance and activity, and resource utilization and system health. It is useful for system administrator, developers, and other users to monitor and manage the system resources effectively. Additionally, you can use the htop with -- user flag with the username to filter processes by a specific user. You can combine htop with other commands or scripts for system monitoring and troubleshooting and performance optimization. htop also supports mouse interaction for navigation and process selections in some terminal environments. Now, next time you need an interactive and comprehensive view of system activity and processes, htop is your go-to tool for monitoring and managing system resources. In computing terms, find is like saying help me locate files and directories based on specific criteria. It is a command line utility that searches for files and directories within a specified directory hierarchy and can perform various actions on found items. In order to use find, you can type in find on your terminal, then the starting directory, then some options, and then the search criteria. And once you press enter, the find tool will search for files and directories based on the specified criteria. Now, there are certain options you can use with find, like there are a lot, but I'll list some of the common ones. So there is a name options you can use with find, which is used for searching files and directories based on specified name. You can also use type, which will specify whether you want to search for a directory or file. The type D specifies that we are searching for a directory, and the type F specifies that we are searching for file. Now you can also use the size option with find, which is used for saying search a file higher or lower than a specific size. So the plus specifies that the file would be larger than the specified size, and the minus specifies that the file would be smaller than specified size. You can also specify the mtime, which is used for searching files by its last modified date and time. And you can also use the execute command, which is used for searching files that are executable. And in the last, you can use delete, which will delete files and folders. So if I ls-l, you can see we have these files and folders right over here in our hacking commands folder. If I'm willing to search for .txt files, I'll say find **.txt, and you can see it will list all of the files ending with .txt. Suppose I want to find the txt files somewhere else. If I specify that I want to search in temp, or I can say /home/videos/YouTube videos hacking, and I can also say like this, I want to find all of the files starting with ran. So you can see it will list the random. Now you can combine all of these other options, like suppose you can say -name, and it will find the file and folder. Now if you don't specify anything, it will start searching in this directory. But if you're willing to search in another directory, you can add that option, like suppose I want to search in /home. So you can see it started searching for files starting with ran in /home folder. So it just found one, and then I ended the program because it was taking time. But anyway, you got the point. If you're willing to give it a starting directory, you can write find, after that the directory name, and then -name or any other option you want to include in the search criteria. Now once more, if you don't specify the directory, it will assume that you are searching in the current directory. If you specify the directory, it will start searching in that starting directory. Now you can use the other options and play around with the find command. But let's explore why does find matters. Well, find provides a powerful and flexible way to search for files and directories based on various criteria. It is useful for system administrator, developers, and users for file management, cleanup, and data retrieval tasks. It can be combined with other commands and scripts for complex file operations and automation. Now, next time you need to search for files or directories based on specific criteria, find is your versatile command line tool for file management and exploration. Next command on our list is grep. In computing terms, grep is like saying find and display lines of text that matches a specific pattern. It is a command line utility that searches for patterns or regular expressions in files and output matching lines. In order to use grep, you can say grep, then options, then a pattern, and then files or directories you want to search in, and then you can press enter. Once you press enter, the grep tool will search for specified patterns and specified files or directories. Now there are certain options you can use with grep. Suppose you can use -i to ignore case sensitivity while searching. You can use -r for recursively searching through directories and subdirectories. You can use the -n for displaying numbers along with matching lines. You can use -v, which will invert the search to display non-matching lines. You can use the -e to allow use of extended regular expressions. And in the last, you can use the -o for output only matching parts of the line. So if I ls-l, you can see we have these random, new, and combined files. So suppose I want to find larm in random.txt. So I'll say grep larm and random.txt. If I press enter, you can see it will highlight all of the larms coming in this file. So we have this L in the larm as capital. If I make it small and press enter, you would see it won't find anything. For ignoring the case sensitivity, I can use -i flag and press enter. You would see it would ignore the case sensitivity and find all of the larms, whether they are starting with capital L or small l. And you can use all of the other options with the larm as well. Like suppose you can use the -r, -n, -v. Suppose I want to use the -n flag. So you can see it displays the line numbers along with the file and the found items. Suppose I want to use the -v flag. So I'd say -v, and it will list all of the text that are non-matching the search criteria that we have specified. And if I say -o, it will just list the matching text, and that's it. And I can also combine the flags. Suppose I want to say no. So it will specify the lines and just the output that is matching the specified text. Now you can play around with the grep command. You can see some of the options on your screen that you can use. I would say, why does grep matters? Well, grep provides a fast and efficient way to search for specific text patterns or regular expressions in the files. It is useful for system administrator and developers and users for log analysis, data extractions and text processing tasks. It can be combined with other commands and tools for complex text manipulation and analysis. Now, next time you need to search for text patterns or extract specific information from files, Grep is your go-to command line tool for text processing and searching. Next command on our list is tar or tar. In computing terms, tar is like saying, let's package files and directories into an archive for storage or transmission. It is a command line utility that creates archive or tar balls and can also compress them using various algorithms. In order to use tar, you can write down tar in your terminal, then options, then the archive name, and then the files or directories you want to compress, and press enter. The tar will create an archive with specified name containing the specified files or directories. Now there are certain options you can use with tar. So ls-l, and then suppose I want to compress this temp folder and store it in something. So I'll say tar and then specify some options. So I can say czvf. The C option is to specify that we want to create a new archive. The Z specifies that we want to use the gzip. The V specifies that we want to use the verbose mode. And this F specifies that we are willing to give it a specific name. So suppose I want to give it temp compressed.tar and then say temp and press enter. And if I say ls, you would see a temp compressed.tar would be created for me. So now you can combine all of these other options and you can use the tar for creating archives with different algorithms. But you would say, why does tar matters? Well, it provides a standard method for creating archives and compressing files on Unix or Linux systems. It is useful for binding files and directories for backup, distribution, and transferring over networks. It supports various compression algorithms for efficient use of storage space. Now you can use the tar for file management, like the system administrators can use the tar for backing operations, for archiving system configurations, and for data storage. Developers can use the tar for packaging software releases, distributing application files, and version controls. User can use the tar for compressing files and directories for efficient storage or for sharing. So next time you need to create archives or compress files or manage data efficiently, tar is your versatile command line tool for file archiving and compression. Next command on our list is gzip. In computing term, gzip is like saying, let's reduce the size of a file using compression to save storage space. It is a command line utility that compresses files using GnuZip algorithm, commonly used to reduce the size of text-based files. In order to use gzip, you can write gzip on the terminal and then options and then the file name. Once you press enter, the gzip will compresses the specified file and add the .gz extension to the compressed file. Now there are certain options you can use with gzip, like suppose you can use the -c option, also the -d. The -d is for decompressing, the -c is for output compressed data to standard output. So you can also use the -f, which will force compression or decompression, overwriting the existing files if necessary. You can also use the -r, which is used for recursively compressing or decompressing directories and their contents. You can use the -t, which will test the integrity of compressed files, and in the last you can use the -v, which is the verbose mode for displaying compression ratio and file names. Now let's try it out. So right now I'm in the hacking commands folder. If I ls-l, you can see we have these different files and folders inside this folder. Suppose I want to create a zip out of this random.txt. The size of this random.txt is this. Let's compress it and see how much it gets reduced. As I said earlier, you can use gzip and then either options or the file name. So in my case, I'll ignore the options and say random.txt. And if I ls-l now, you can see that the random.txt.gz file has been created, and you can see the original size was 9000, but it's been reduced to 465. It is indeed a big reduction in the size after compression. This is how you can compress and reduce the size using gzip. Now you can also combine the gzip with tar to create compressed archives, and suppose you want to see the contents of this compressed file that we just created, so you can do that by zcat and then the file name, and you can see we can view all of the contents of the compressed file. Now you would say, why does gzip matters? Well, gzip matters because system administrator uses gzip to compress log files and backup data and optimize disk space usage. Now developers uses the gzip to compress text-based file before distribution, reducing download times and bandwidth usage. Users uses the gzip for compressing files and directories for storage or sharing over the networks effectively. So next time you need to compress files to save storage space or speed up file transfer, gzip is the command line tool for efficient file compression. Next command on our list is user add. In computing terms, user add is like saying, let's create a new user account on the system. It is a command line utility that is used to add new user account to a Linux or Unix operating system. In order to use user add, you can open up your terminal and then write sudo user add, then options, and then the username. The user add tool will create a new user account with the specified username and with specified option. In order to add a user, you can say sudo user add and then the name of the user. Suppose I want to create John. I'll give my password, and if I ls-l/home, you can see the John user has been created. So suppose I want to create a user and add it to a specific group. I can do that using different options. So I'll say sudo user add and then -g flag and then the group we have. So I have Apache group and then I have this group. And I want to add this John user to this group. So I'll press enter. Now John is already existing, so we'll say John 1. And you can see John 1 user has been created and it's also been added to this group and this group. Now you can also create a user with a specific login shell. So suppose I want to create a user, like just give it the shell access of bash/bin. So I can do that by writing sudo user add and then say -c and give it a name John Doe and then specify the -s and then say John 3. Okay, so that was user add. With user add, you can add a specific user, change its group, give it specific access and stuff like that. Now you would say, why does user add matters? Well, user add matters because it provides system administrators with the ability to create and manage user accounts on the Linux system. It's also essential for setting up new users, assigning permissions, and managing user access resources. Now, next time you need to add a new user account on the Linux system, user add is your command line tool for user management. Next command on our list is user delete. It's similar to user add, but user add was used to add a user. Now user delete is used to delete a user. Now in computing terms, user delete is like saying let's remove a user account from the system. It is a command line utility that is used to delete user accounts from Linux or Unix operating system. Now in order to use user delete, you can say sudo user delete options and then username. The user delete tool will delete the specified user. Now there are different options you can use with user delete. Suppose you can use the -r to remove the user home directory and the mail spool. The -f will force the removal even if the user is currently logged in or has running processes, and -f and -r will force remove and delete user home directory and file. Now in order to do that, I can say ls-l/home and you can see we have all of these users, this John, John 1, John 2, John 3. So if I'm willing to delete one, I can say user delete and then the name. So I'll say -r to delete, and if I ls-/home now, you would see the John would be deleted. Now I can do the same thing for John 1, for John 2 and for John 3. And if I ls-l/home now, you would see only one user would be existing. Now you would say, why does user delete matters? Because it provides system administrator with the ability to remove user accounts that's no longer needed on the system. It is essential for cleaning up user accounts after user leaves an organization or are no longer active. It can also help free up disk space by removing unused user directories and files. Now next time you need to remove a user account from a Linux system, user delete is your command line tool for user management. Next command on our list is group add. In computing terms, group add is like saying let's create a new group on the system. It is a command line utility used to add new groups to Linux or Unix operating system. Now in order to use group add, you can write sudo group add, then options and then the group name. The group add tool will create a new group with the specified group name. Now there are different options you can use with group add. Let's try and use the group add. So I'll clear up the screen and then say sudo group add and then the group name. Suppose I want to create admin group. So I'll press enter. Now the group has been created. In order to verify that the group was actually created, we can say g10 group and you would see that the admin group has been created. Now, in order to create a group with specific GID, so this is basically the group GID. Now, in order to create a group with specific GID, you can do that by writing sudo group add and then specify the -g flag and after that the GID and then the group name. Suppose I would say user custom group. So the 101 GID is already existing. Suppose we can say 104 or 106. If I g10 group now, you would see that user custom group with specific GID would be created. Now you would say, why does group add matters? Well, it provides the system administrator with the ability to create and manage groups for user organizations and permissions. It is essential for defining access controls policy, file permissions, and user-based privileges. It enables users to be the part of multiple groups for flexible access management. Now, next time you need to create a new group on the Linux system, group add is your command line tool for group management. The next command on our list is similar to the group add, which is group delete. In computing terms, group delete is like saying, let's remove a group from the system. It is a command line utility used to delete groups from a Linux system. In order to use group delete, you can say sudo group delete and then the group name you want to delete. Once you press enter, the system will delete the specified group. In order to use the group delete, we have this admin and this custom user groups that we just created earlier. Now I want to delete this admin. So I'll say sudo group del and then the name of the group. And if I press enter and then G10 group, you will see the admin is no longer here. I would do the same thing with user custom group. And if I G10 group, you would see that group is also gone. Now you would say, why does group del matters? Well, it provides system administrator with the ability to remove unnecessary or obsolete groups from the system. It is essential for cleaning up group configurations and access control settings. It ensures that user memberships and permissions are properly managed. Now, next time you need to remove a group from Linux system, group del is your command line tool for group management. Now these were all of the commands. To conclude the video, as an ethical hacker, your proficiency with Linux command can be a game changer. This guide has covered essential commands and concepts that will empower you to navigate Linux system efficiently, manage files and processes, also secure your environment and perform various crucial tasks to your ethical hacking endeavors. Mastering these basic Linux commands is just the beginning. Continued learning, practicing, and explanation of more advanced topic will further enhance your ability as an ethical hacker. So stay curious, stay ethical, and keep honing your skills to make the digital world a safer place. Happy hacking.